Howdy, folks. How is everyone today? Happy week 4. We'll give everyone a few minutes to show up and see your questions coming in. There is a lot of injuries, Scott, and some of them, we'll be looking at. Obviously Dalvin Cook seems like he's in a better place. We got an early afternoon kickoff there. Lamar Jackson, I think, will play. I don't think Rob Gronkowski is going to play. That doubtful designation is not good. I've been in denial all week. I've been thinking there's no way he doesn't play. Seems like maybe there's a way. We'll see if he makes the trip today. I have heard privately from people who would know that he is not going to play. I started hearing this before he got the doubtful designation. So I didn't believe it. I was in denial. George Kittle seems like he's very iffy. His comments from post-practice Friday were not positive. Elijah Mitchell also uncertain. Julio Jones and A.J. Brown both sitting this week out. That makes things interesting. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. We've got Darrell Henderson. Seems like he's going to play. Got the questionable designation, but again, there's a lot going on. We'll dig into all of it as we go along. The buy low candidates, I think, the one that pops into my mind, that I talked to Eric Moody from ESPN about this, and I'm good, everybody. I hope everyone else is good. Looks like we're in for an exciting week, if nothing else. I hope you all, so one of the things, and I'll get the buy lows, Victor. Kyle Pitts comes immediately to mind, though, right? Jonathan Taylor comes immediately to mind for me as well. Those would be two. If I'm looking at wide receivers, I'll be thinking about this throughout the show, Victor. Ask me again. But those ones leap immediately to mind, right? Kyle Pitts, it seems like, anytime someone gets off to a slow start, you're a little worried. But especially if it's a rookie tight end, seems like Cordero Patterson's getting some of the work we expected him. Arthur Smith, very creative guy, play caller. Hey, the dog is getting on things. Stop. This is what happens at the home office. Hey. All right. What are you going to do? Sorry about that, everybody. Allen Robinson would be another one. Yes, I agree with that. Scott, seems like a really, at some point this offense is going to normalize, maybe this week against Detroit. The problem for him has been running shallower routes than we'd like to see. So that's been an issue, and, they're just not throwing the ball. Part of that is they don't have time to throw the ball, right? They just don't. So that's going to be a tricky one. Get into some of the questions. Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you. Glad everyone can make it. Hope the dog quits barking momentarily. And we'll get into the questions again. Calm down. Okay, I guess I'm just going to have to deal with that. Bunch of people outside my window all of a sudden, and the dog is not very happy. Apologies for this, people. I'm working on it. Hopefully this is. Hold on one second. Go on. All right. Everyone, get less excited. That's not ideal. Apologies again, everybody. Holy cow. Hopefully this isn't getting the right week for Robbie Anderson. It's been a mess there. The Carolina offense is working well, but that portion of it is not, right? It's been a mess. All right. So let's see. Andrea needs one. Myles Gaston, Chuba Hubbard, Darrell Henderson, Leonard Fournette. I'm going to give Chuba Hubbard a shot. Dallas, you're expecting a big kind of a shootout kind of game. I think the thing we know about the Carolina running back situation is that they do tend to plug and play. Look, Royce Freeman is there, but I don't expect a major portion of the workload. I think, Matt Rule has basically said it. The game plan doesn't really change. The running back does, but they're going to still keep trying to do the same things. I thought Hubbard looked kind of okay in his first action last Thursday. So, they drafted him because they think he's an explosive threat. So this is looking good. It looks like Le'Veon Bell could be activated this week. Nobody should get excited about this. Thank you for the booze selection. You can thank my fiance. This is her booze selection. I myself don't drink the liquor. So do I see anyone in the passing game, Scott wants to know, worth a pickup and a flex start this weekend? Look, I think Westbrook and Keeney is kind of, all these guys seem to have, I don't think I want to go down to their like Cameron Batson level. We'll see if Josh Reynolds, should be active, but that he hasn't been yet is kind of worrisome there, right? So, I don't want to get over invested, but it's a great matchup, right? And so we're looking for ways to leverage that a little bit. Westbrook and Keeney seems like the logical choice to me. But Chester Rogers has looked great in the red. And so, we've been seeing Chester Rogers has been kind of a thing for us for how long? Dating back to the Colts. We've been waiting for him to become a thing. Maybe this is his opportunity. Those would be the two, Rogers and Westbrook and Keeney, that I'd be interested in. And beyond that, I think you're kind of taking your chances. We'll see if Josh Reynolds shows up and becomes a thing at some point. That would be great. Obviously they signed him and paid a fair amount of money to get him there. That was before they acquired Julio Jones, though, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Just checking the news here as it comes in, seeing what they're saying, if Le'Veon Bell's actually been activated or not. I don't think it really changes much for me. I know it wasn't a great rushing week last week, and it's a tough matchup this week just for the Ravens in general. We'll see what's up with Lamar Jackson. I suspect he'll play. Interesting to note that they are. I have an article up on the site right now talking about the depth, the deeper passing. They talked about this all offseason. We all were kind of skeptical, right? And it seems like they're actually following through with it. So that's working out well. But this Denver secondary, you might have heard, is really good. Let's see. With Claypool out, James Washington is the guy that always moves up in the rotation, and Ben Roethlisberger seems to be very comfortable with him. But I do think Deontay comes back and gets his usual role as the target monster there. Iron Eddie would like to know the thoughts on stashing Marlon Mack. You want to drop Elijah Moore or the other Tony Jones? Sure. I think that's a fair investment. I think if you're out there, looking to play speculatively, at some point Jeff Wilson's coming back in San Francisco. He would be on my radar in that same regard. But yeah, if Mac shows up somewhere, it'd be interesting to see where he goes. And the thing is, if he's being traded, whoever lands him obviously, feels like they have a use for him. So I could drop him for more. And if I'm not the Alvin Kamara investor in my league, I could probably pass on Tony Jones Jr. as well. If Kittle is out, do you have an idea on pick up a tight end, Andrea? So, there seems like there's so many streamable, tight ends out there. If Dalton Schultz is available in your league, go out and grab him. I know you can't have somebody who's already played, but it seems like we have a new candidate, had a new candidate on Thursday night, and CJ Uzomah. And so I'll just talk about CJ Uzomah for a minute, right? This is a guy who's kind of been a journeyman guy. He's flashed in brief moments. But the thing that caught my attention, more so than the touchdowns, was the talk after the game with Joe Burrow, talking about how he's looking for him. He audibled out of the one play to throw him the touchdown pass because he knew to look for him. And I think this is kind of on Burrow. This is a Burrow thing. He seems to want to make use of him. So kind of interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. But you obviously can't play him this week. Look, Dawson Knox is surprisingly, a top 10 tight end right now if he's available in your league. If people aren't buying into it, I think that's perfectly suitable. Austin Hooper. I think, Evan Ingram I don't have a lot of faith in right yet, but, you've got two receivers down for the New York Football Giants. That could be an issue as well. So those would be some of the names I'd be looking at. I want to go higher level and, obviously, if no, I'm guessing people in your league, Tyler Conklin, is not of huge interest to me, but he is getting some work. So those would be some of the names that would be of interest to me right now. Jimmy Williams, Vegas seems to give Arizona a shot this weekend, but now LA is -4.5. Can you take this moment to talk about the players in this game? So yeah, I actually like. I just did my one and done draft on Sirius the other night, and I drafted Kyler Murray. I think he's more than capable of getting stuff done against this defense. I know it's a tough matchup, but his mobility gives him that added level. I think it's hard to pass on him and pass on his upside. Is it going to be another 4 or 5 touchdown game? I don't know about that, but the over-under suggests it's going to be pretty high scoring. He's been passing the ball around, spreading the ball around really nicely. Big article up on the website about that as well. A.J. Green, the most targeted wide receiver in that offense. Hopkins, not quite the target man. Chase Edmonds has as many targets right now as DeAndre Hopkins. I think that will normalize at some point. But Christian Kirk, I could go down to that level and play as well. I know a lot of people are keen on Rondale Moore. I don't think the week-to-week role is going to be consistent enough. But if you need a flyer, I mean, anybody who has a role in this offense seems like they're playable commodities. I mentioned Chase Edmonds has been getting a ton of targets. I think this might be a good game for him. And James Conner, you're looking at basically, a touchdown-dependent dart toss. And last week he scored a couple touchdowns. So that was pretty good. On the other side of the ball, I mean, can't deny what Matthew Stafford has done in this offense with Cooper Kupp. We're waiting for Robert Woods to normalize. I know if people are giving up on Robert Woods, he might be one of those players to target a buy low opportunity if someone's getting frustrated with him that we had talked about earlier on the buy low candidates. He would be one for sure. I mean, he's just not getting the targets. I don't think that lasts. I'm not looking to play all the way down to the Deshaun Jackson level, but you could, right? So I think that's viable. Darrell Henderson sounds like he'll be back this week. He got the questionable designation, but Sean McVay said he's going to play. So that's a positive there. I mean, it's not a hugely tough matchup in that regard. It's kind of a tough matchup for Tyler Higbee. Still, I would play Tyler Higbee. I would be fine playing him in this game because I think the volume has been there as well. And something on Darrell Henderson, I know a lot of people are concerned about Sony Michel starting to usurp his playing time now that he's been in the mix. I talked to Jordan Rodriguez from The Athletic last weekend, and she made a great point. I mean, pass heavy as this team's going, pass protection is a big deal for them. Matthew Stafford is the guy they're all in on. Darrell Henderson is the best pass blocking back in this offense, according to Jordan. So she thinks that's going to keep him on the field almost all the time. So, he's going to come back. Maybe this week there's a bit of a share. Maybe that scares people off him. If that's the case, maybe he's a guy you want to target in trade offers as well, because I think he's going to be on the field a fair amount more. Scott, okay, what do we got here? How about Mooney or Patrick? I'm playing Tim Pat. And I hope that helped you out, Jimmy. Mooney or Patrick in a PPR for this week. So the Bears, I mean, I think it's obviously a better matchup, and I'm more interested. But I'm interested in David Montgomery. Slightly interested in Allen Robinson, but not to the degree I have been, right? I'm looking at a wider range of options when I'm making that decision until we see something with the quarterback play. I'm going to suggest that this is not all on the quarterback. Somebody needs to play left tackle for this team. Someone needs to play right tackle also for this team. But they've got to start protecting the passer. They've got to have a little bit of time to throw the ball. That's been one of the problems for Robinson. I think it's a problem for Mooney as well. Maybe they get a little more time this week. I'm not betting on it. I want to see it before I play it. So Patrick seems pretty consistently productive. Ravens, good defense, not impenetrable defense. I'd be fine going with Tim Patrick in this one. I always liked his role. This goes back prior to this year as well. Juju, Jamal, or Jared Cook in my flex tight end scores 1.5 per catch. I wish Jared Cook got more of those catches because I would be happy to play him. I'm probably playing Jamal Williams in this one. Juju's going to play. He's cleared. I wonder, got back on the practice field. There's one less mouth to feed there. So I think he's in the conversation as well. I'm probably going Jamal Williams for me. Just the way this offense is working, there's been enough to go around for the backs. In fact, Mike Dempsey and I talk about it on the fantasy channel all the time on Sirius is, these funnel offenses where you can reliably count on a vast majority of the offense going through a narrow band of players. In Detroit, there's no better example, right? There's just not a high end. I mean, one receiver a week is going to show up, but you don't know which one. But TJ Hawkinson, last week notwithstanding, is going to be very busy. But you also know the running backs are going to be hugely busy. And even with DeAndre Swift, starting to be a little more dominant, Williams is getting plenty of opportunities. And look, I'm always going to chase Scott. You know this. I'm always chasing volume. And maybe Juju gets that. I'm not sure. It seems like Najee Harris gets that. I can't even remember my own last name. At least the dog stopped barking. I have that going for me, but I can't remember my own name. Scott wants to know, do you think Colin Johnson makes an impact against New Orleans in 30th? Yeah, if this was a better offense or had shown the ability to be a better offense, look, I think Daniel Jones is not the issue here. I think it's the offense is the issue. The offensive line's been a problem, but just the play calling's been horrible. I'm looking at you, Jason Garrett. Would like to see it before I invest in it again. I know you're playing in, kind of big league, Scott, where maybe you're trying to take some chances and set yourself apart a little bit, I don't think it's a horrible play. I think I'd rather allocate my spots to something a little more certain. But again, this is kind of like a you thing where, you have to determine your own level of risk tolerance. I think there's a fair amount of this because, look, maybe we see Kadarius Toney come in that one, right? Or maybe we see, we're not going to see John Ross. We might see John Ross, but I'm not getting excited about that. But maybe Evan Ingram finally turns into Evan Ingram this week. Things like that worry me a little bit with him. So there we go. Defense streaming. Would you go Dolphins or Washington football team? I just wonder how much, they're going to be throwing the Colts. I'm hoping they run a lot. My Jonathan Taylor shares would appreciate it, but obviously, they're maybe it's a good target, with Carson Wentz there, maybe some disruptive playmaking ability for that. I just don't see it with Washington yet, man. I know they have all the talent, but it's been pretty dismal, eyeball test wise. I just haven't seen a damn thing from them. And this matchup kind of sets up well, maybe for Matt Ryan to reemerge as a viable, or at least some of his pieces. And by his pieces, I mean you, Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. Love to see that. So I'd probably go Dolphins over Washington right now. Wow, who knew? Jimmy Williams would love Edmonds. Woods a sleeper this week. I agree on both counts. I think Edmonds is a guy that I have an eye on. Let's see. Roland, Cook, JT, and Keenan questionable. How do you feel about these guys? JT. Somebody help me out with JT. So Cook and Keenan. It's a Monday night game, right? That's the problem. Is JT Jonathan Taylor? I don't know. Dalvin. Okay, so I'll guess Dalvin Cook. I saw the Keenan. I'm thinking the Chargers. Got it. Jonathan Taylor. So look, I think Taylor is in line for a rebound game a little bit in my mind. Maybe it's just my mind. Quentin Nelson is not going to play. I don't think that helps, but it's not a horrible matchup. And I think they need to lean on the run. We'll see. Don't think Marlon Mack will be active for this one as they look to trade him, it seems normally. Keenan, as long as he's ready to go, I'm ready to go with him. But if he goes into Monday night with a questionable tag, I want to have a pivot available if I need to. Cook is an early Sunday kickoff, so you'll know in advance if he's going, I'm playing him. And so I feel good about all these guys except Keenan. I haven't seen the final injury designation hasn't come out yet, by the way. For the Chargers. At the moment he is not, it's not trending in a great direction for him to not be questionable, but that could change. Half point, would you prefer Chase Edmonds or Damian Harris? This week, maybe Chase Edmonds. I like Damian Harris when he gets the workload. I wonder if he's going to get the workload. Can you see this game getting lopsided early? I have worries about this game for the Patriots offense. So yeah, probably Edmonds in this case for me. Just want to check and see how out of line I am with my rankings on that. Not crazily out of line. In fact, our rankings have Edmonds ahead, so I'm going to stick with that as well. By the way, I work at a website. It's called footballdiehards.com. You should go there and look around. It's great stuff. We have all kinds of fantastic content, including our staff rankings, which I sometimes refer to. And I'm part of the staff rankings, and I make adjustments, but they're not 100% exclusively my rankings, so sometimes I deviate. Also within tiers, sitting here pretending I can predict who's going to be running back 21 versus 24 seems like a little bit presumptuous of me, so I don't pretend I can do that. But, looking in the same tiers, I think is a reasonable amount. Those guys are in the same tiers. I like Edmonds better within that tier. So there you have that. Damian Harris or Cordarrelle Patterson rest of the season in a half-point PPR. I'm going Damian Harris rest of the season. Chasing volume, I think he'll have more of it. Right. And Patterson has been great at some point, and maybe it's just me, but I think they want to get something more out of Kyle Pitts, and maybe some of those turns Cordarrelle Patterson getting turned into Kyle Pitts turns, right? Because they're using Patterson as kind of a chess piece here a little bit. So what can't Patterson do well? Can't run between the tackles well. What else can't he do well? As a receiver, not all the routes are in his wheelhouse. So what they've done is they combined up a role where they ask him to run in places where he's best suited to running, and they've asked him to run routes in the places where he's best suited, on the routes he's best suited to run, and it's working out well. At some point, does this shift? I have that concern. I think Harris gets the workload over time. I think Patterson is going to have weeks where he's fantastic, and then there's going to be a series of weeks where, maybe the workload diminishes. That's my guess. But so far, it's been great with Patterson, right? A little better than Harris. I think Harris, though, over the course of time, is going to be the better play. Debo or Deontay and a half point. Wow, it's a great matchup. My love for Brandon Ayuk makes me think he should get all the passes, but he will not. Debo will get his share. Obviously, he already has. I think it's safe to play Debo in a half-point PPR. Deontay Johnson's going to be heavily targeted, but I think that offense is not working quite as well, right? So that's what I'm going to go. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate that. And it really was, we spent a lot of time. And by the way, I mentioned the website. That's part of what we do. And if you go there now, you find all kinds of great stuff from all kinds of great people, including the football scientist, Casey Joyner, Brad Cruz, who is a huge high-stakes maven in this world, doing their start sits. John Lobb doing some DFS work. The Scholars, the sheet of DraftKings knowledge is always fantastic. Jamie Calandro with his GPP stacks and DraftKings cash plays. Justin Lanero with his digging into the crates. I have my tournament 3 and out. We have Drew Phelps doing prop bet stuff. He's been really going deep, going in depth. Gary Davenport, in addition to doing our IDP rankings, is cranking out the Shadow Knows, a great matchup column. Just getting the alert in here. Rob Gronkowski officially out this week, so Gronk will not play at this game. So there we have it. As I'm looking over things, always interesting when these guys didn't think, seemed like it was going that way. Again, started hearing it Thursday, and now it's come to pass. Rob Gronkowski is ruled out. All right, full PPR. So anyway, go to footballdiehards.com, sign up, use the promo code Diehards and get 15% off your purchase. Also, hit the like button on this video if you wouldn't mind, and subscribe to the channel. And I do this every Saturday at noon Eastern time. And we have other videos, all kinds of great content on the site, so check it out. And let's see. Corey Davis, Devonta Smith, Antonio Brown, and Chase Edmonds. Probably going Edmonds, and for me, it's between Devonta Smith and Antonio Brown. I'm probably leaning Smith. I think the workouts maybe favor him. The matchups maybe favor him a little bit in this one. Gronk's absence maybe favors Antonio Brown a little bit in this one as well. I mean, I've kind of been thinking that. What do I do if Gronk is out? Do I raise up my Antonio Brown? Look, it's between one of those two. Like, I love Corey Davis. I think he's a great player. I think Zach Wilson is a work in progress, and I don't need to play a piece of that work as it's progressing. I'd like to see it prove a little bit. He needs to get the ball out of his hand faster, and everyone knows it. So yeah, not making the trip is Rob Gronkowski. It is now fairly official. So there we have that. All right, best defensive streamer: Bears, Packers, Colts, Dolphins. Man, I almost want to say the Packers. Look, the Colts picking on Jacoby Brissett, the Dolphins picking on Carson Wentz. Those seem to be the two I'd like. I don't think the Lions have been, that horrible offensively for the Bears defense to pick on. So I'd go with one of those latter two there. Umberto wants to know half-point PPR if Melvin Gordon is out, start Javonte Williams or Jacoby Myers. Yeah, Williams if Gordon's out, that makes it an easy call. I might go Williams over Myers either way, but it sounds like there may be some passing in this game, so it would be understandable if you needed upside. The problem with Myers is he doesn't score, right? He just doesn't make the touchdowns. That's an issue. I know Javonte Williams hasn't been a huge paragon of scoring either, so I get it. But if the opportunities are there, I'd be much more interested. So it'd be great if Gordon's out. My feeling is he won't be. But I heard that when the rib issue was just the only issue. Now he has a lower leg issue. Maybe that changes the dynamic. Be worth watching. Rich, PPR needs a running back and a flex. Michael Carter, Tony Pollard, Hunter Renfrow, Damian Harris. Oh, Damian Harris, Pats. Lazard. Tempted to go Pollard and Hunter Renfrow here. Look, I mean, I'm not like, I like Damian Harris. I just don't know if this is going to be a great game for the Patriots offense, right? Well, at least the rushing offense. Passing offense might be another story. Buccaneers have been fairly generous in that regard, right? But the run defense has been pretty tough, and Damian Harris does not add a lot to the passing attack. So that would probably be the direction. Like Michael Carter, still think this offense is a work in progress before I need to play him. I needed to get him better. And I love Hunter Renfrow. I mean, the Raiders have 4 or 5 receivers all, currently over 200 yards receiving. I mean, they've been pretty good. It's not as much of a funnel, but they've all been good. I'll give you a question you might like in time to fire. Is it time to fire the dismissal up this week? Might well be. It's not time not to fire him up. If you're looking deep, DFS, the Will Dissly is a pretty solid scoring threat in a matchup against the 49ers defense that's not been great. So, yes, they've been pretty generous to tight ends at times as well. Half point PPR, AB or Jacoby Myers. I'm probably going AB in this one, Andrea. I mean, I like Myers. I think they're going to be throwing a lot. And AB is maybe a little hunchy, but that'd be the hunch I'm playing. Yes, I think Zeke will be very good this week, Dayton Jones. It just seems like this is, starting to become a thing, right, with Zeke. Just the rushing attack in general is starting to get great, right? That's kind of the key for me, and Zeke's been good. If you think back to last year, with Dak Prescott on the field, I think, before Dak was hurt, Zeke was running back 3. I think we're starting to see some of that come back to fruition. Offensive line has been, a bit of an issue and will continue to be an issue, but it doesn't seem to be a problem right now for Zeke anyway. Jonathan Taylor, yes. Thank you, Scott. Needing a flex, Brandon Cooks, Brandon Ayuk, or Miles Sanders. Man, hey, Steve, do you think this is not like the get well week after they held Sanders, I'm almost tempted to say Sanders just because it just seems like they have to, get right with him. Kansas City defense, not great, right? I mean, that's the direction I'm leaning. Still, Ayuk has a phenomenal matchup. I'm starting to gain a little more confidence in the role. Don't know if I'm there yet, but I mean, you could say the same thing about Miles Sanders after last week, right? What kind of role is that? Brandon Cooks, you know what the role is. You also know what Tre'Davious White is. It's going to be tough, right? So, I mean, I'm okay playing Cooks. If you have him, I would lower expectations a bit. We've seen pretty much, White shut pretty much everyone down this season for the most part. I think there's one player that fared reasonably well against him, but for the most part, it hasn't been the high-end production. I mean, he's not like he's an impenetrable fortress or anything, but it's been tougher. And their entire secondary is good. So that's a little bit of a problem for me. So I'm probably going Sanders on this one, Steve, and hoping there's a little rectification there. Sometimes you get that week where everyone questions the play calling, and everyone did question the play calling because Miles Sanders carried the ball 2 times. I think you're going to see a little more, and Kansas City might be the favorable matchup. If Kittle's out, who is the best waiver wire pickup? To this point, it's been Knox, right? I mean, and it's going against the Houston defense. I'd probably lean in that direction. Gesicki's been hit or miss, mostly miss. And Conklin, it seems like the adjustment's been made in Minnesota, where they're going more 3 receiver sets, and KJ Osborne's coming on a little bit. I mean, Conklin still has a role, but I think this is going downfield a little bit more in my estimation. So I'm probably leaning Knox. He's been a little touchdown dependent. Also, he's been catching touchdowns. So, and it's Houston. There's that. Steve Linder in a Superflex PPR league. Would you go Wentz, Fields, or DeAndre Swift? Really? Wow. Yeah, this might be one of the rare occasions where I went away from the quarterback. I just don't have a good feel. I mean, you have Wentz, on 2 sprained ankles. Does he make it through the whole game? You have Fields. I mean, I'm not expecting another 47 yards of total offense this week, but it's within the range of possible outcomes, as last week demonstrated. I'm really worried about the pass protection there. I think Fields will be better. I'd be tempted to play Fields over Swift, but also I'd probably still play Swift. I probably would. And that's really unusual for me. And thank you, Jimmy. I would like subscribers to the channel. And you catch this every week, noon. And also our other, content. Wednesday night, we do a DFS video live. Jason Brady, often Jamie Calandro, Emil Cadlick are in those. John Laub does a DFS, the line of scrimmage show every Saturday. Today it'll be on at 7 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. John goes through and builds lineups for you, goes through all the slides, etc. Then we have the pregame show on Sunday with Jason Brady and Jamie Calandro talking DFS ownership percentages and things like that. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. So, yes, I think Zeke will do well this week, as I said. I think Zeke's locked in right now. And I think Pollard, this offense looks like it can sustain 2 guys right now, right? Thinking of starting Jalen Hurts over Lamar this week based on matchup. Am I overthinking? Maybe, but not necessarily. I mean, that's the overthinking is what we do as fantasy managers, right? in this case, it doesn't seem unreasonable. I mean, Denver's defense is hugely tough. In addition, like, I don't think the back is really an issue, but if you're sitting there and, measuring between two players, or if I'm splitting hairs between two players, one being healthy and the other not being healthy is a big deal. On our current rankings, we have Lamar Jackson 6, Jalen Hurts 10, both quarterbacks in the top 10. If you feel more comfortable with Hurts based on the matchup and health, or just the matchup, but it's not crazy to do that, right? You run the risk. We all run the risk, right? Whenever we sit here and do these things where, I mean, you're asking the question in the way that it should. Am I overthinking? We do that. Fantasy managers do that. It's a part of our nature. It's also one of the things we enjoy about the game. It's also one of the things we punish ourselves about on Monday when it doesn't go right. But sometimes you go with these, whether they're hunches or intuition or just common sense. Sometimes it's that simple. It's not necessarily overthinking. It's actually just thinking. And instead of going with what, the logical or the assumed narrative that, wow, you start Lamar Jackson every week, you give it a little thought based on matchup, and you have a viable second option. So, you're not overthinking it. You're doing it just right. 1 point PPR, Jamal Williams or Zach Moss. I don't know, man, Fish. Do we trust Zach Moss yet? I don't, but it's a great matchup. I'm probably leaning. Let me check. I'm going to check the rankings on this one because honestly, we have them both in that tail end, high end flexes, let's say, right? So Moss would probably be the one the website and our algorithms prefer given the matchup, and that's totally understandable. That's probably I'm probably going to lean that way, but I like what Jamal Williams has been doing, and so again, two guys in the same tier. I'll go Moss. Along with our rankings. Is Cam Brate a sneaky pickup? Yes. Maybe O.J. Howard is too, right? He's been on the field, just hasn't done much. Maybe this is his time. Brian Larkin, both New England wide receivers are free agents, Myers or Aguilar. I'm probably playing Myers or probably picking up Myers if I'm making that speculative play. I think they're both, kind of what they are. Myers is more of a floor guy. Aguilar would be a swing for the fence play on occasion. I'd rather have the solid floor player. I'm looking at that point to avoid zeros when I'm putting guys like this in my lineup. I think Myers is less likely to get you a zero on any given Sunday than Nelson Aguilar, or a near zero. Let's put it that way. Can I pour you a drink? Apparently, I have alcohol. I don't know how the alcohol works. It's been a while. It's been 30 years since I had a sip. So I forgot how it works. Does A-Rob have any trade value? No. You need the number 2 running back and trying to figure out what running backs I can look for in an A-Rob trade. Now is not the time to trade A-Rob, right? You're not going to get good return. And I get it. You need a piece now, right? So, you're going to be selling low on a commodity that may end up being extremely valuable. A player whose talent level is clearly, top 10 at his position. So that's the trade-off you're making. I mean, if you need immediate help and you realize you're selling low, you might be in that boat. So I'm not telling you not to do it. I just think it's a bad time to do it if you have any alternatives. Again, if you didn't hear the news, Rob Gronkowski will not be playing this week, not making the trip to Tampa Bay. We kind of had a good indication when he was listed as doubtful on Friday that this might be the case. I actually started hearing on Thursday from first some gambling types and then from some better connected people with the team that this looked like it was going to happen. So the doubtful designation kind of sealed the deal. Now he's ruled out. Interesting. Who is the guy I went after the most on the waiver wire this week? Who was it? I made a few claims. I'm not like super aggressive waiver wire. I'm like in pretty good shape this week, so I didn't go super aggressive on the waiver wire. I think there's always some obvious. You go out and check and see if Chuba Hubbard's picked up, right? And like he always is. So, or, in all the leagues I was in, I went and looked for that. So I'm guessing he was probably on that list of players that people were looking for and probably sadly did not or realized they weren't going to get pretty quickly. Who else was out there that I was looking at? Let me go look at my list. It's worth a glance. I did put in some claims on Chester Rogers. Have to go back and see if I got him. I think that was one, and I think if you were looking, maybe Kadarius Toney is a guy thinking if you thought that Slayton and Shepard were both going to be out, it's a guy that maybe has a chance. So yeah, that would be some that I put in claims on. Justin Herbert or Matthew Stafford? Damn, that's like choosing between children, right? I'm going to go, this one is close enough. I'm going to the rankings, and I will probably adhere to the rankings. Herbert it is. Raiders have been playing a little tougher defense, right? But I'd have a hard time going away from Herbert. Honestly, they're both, again, inside the top 8. So that's a tough call, man. Herbert for me, and there is not a wrong answer here. Old school TD league with yards, business of yards most Sutton or Devonta. I'm going Sutton every time in that contest. Almost regardless of matchup. Teddy Bridgewater is playing really good, you guys. Don't look now. Teddy's okay, and so is Cortland Sutton. I'm probably playing that one. I like Devontae's matchup this week. I think he has some room, but just not trusting it yet. I'll trust Sutton. Sutton, Marquise Brown, Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett. I need 3 of them. Mike Williams is one of them. Cortland Sutton is one of them. And I got to check the kickoff times because I think you're going to have a problem with Marquise Brown as late afternoon kickoff. And so is Tyler Lockett, though. So this may work out for you. Let me just double check the kickoff times here. I'm going to play Tyler Lockett if he's healthy. And if he's not healthy, I'm going to make the switch to Marquise Brown in a tough matchup. That would be my approach. Steve Linder, thanks again. Sorry for the loss of Mike Tagliere. He was a friend, and he and I had a good connection through. We like the same kind of music, so we talked about it fairly often. And it's a sad thing, and you hate to see it. And man, thoughts and prayers go out to Tabby and his kids. It's just unfathomable, right? Just unfathomable. I was texted him right before he went in the hospital, and he was, he's not feeling good. So anyhow, don't want to go too far off track. Just a tough loss for everybody. Young man, well before his time. Sorry, just tuned in. Jonathan, JJ Taylor or R.F. Stevenson is a speculative ad. I guess it depends on what you're looking to add, right? If you're looking to add like a James White level player, maybe that's JJ Taylor. Could be Stevenson's those too, because he's a pretty good receiver. So I'm going to say JJ Taylor is probably the better play here. Knowing that Stevenson, he'd be the guy if something happens to Damian Harris that gets full roll, right? I mean, you would think so. I have him in that order though right now. Tyler Lockett or Brian Edwards, half-point PPR. So that's the question. I mean, I think, obviously you're set up there, Nifty Main, with a decision that's doable, right? You wait and see if Lockett's active. And if he's not, Brian Edwards will be. Do you trust Tyler Lockett? That's hard for me right now. I mean, so everything we heard was first it was a knee injury and he was going to be fine. Then he didn't, then he was limited and still they said he was fine, but then it was a hip injury and not the knee. And then Thursday he didn't practice. So I have concerns. It's not trending in a good direction. I do want to play him if he's on the field, though. This is a great matchup for him. So I'd probably play him if he's active and fall back to Edwards if need be. Again, I mentioned it earlier. 5 of these Raider receivers. Let's see, who is it? 4? Waller, Edwards, Ruggs, and Renfro all have over 200 yards receiving. That's pretty good. 4. Russell Wilson or Matt Stafford. Slightly into Russell Wilson for me in this one, Andrea. What are your thoughts on Carolina passing game this week? I think it's going to be busy. I think this is going to be a lot of passing in this game in general. So DJ Moore locked in. Look, Trayvon Diggs is playing good football right now, right? So maybe don't expect, the Houston level production, but DJ Moore has been clearly the lead piece. I mean, you could play all the way down to Terrace Marshall. I know we talked about Robbie Anderson here a little bit already. It's not been good, right? I mean, it's hard to play him right now. So I'm fine with that. I'm not going down to the tight end level either. I want to see what happens with Tommy Tremble before I start playing Tommy Tremble. and probably not playing Ian Thomas. But I do like the passing game. I think Sam Darnold's looking good. Give him a little pass protection. Who knew? Might be able to play football. Bradley Madison, should I pick up and stash Peyton Barber if you would drop? If so, would you drop Tyson Moore or Sterling Shepard? I have owned Judy and Landry on IR, and I'm not a Josh Jacobs owner. I mean, Barber's only value, it seems to me, is if Jacobs is out. It sounds like he'll play this week, but I mean, do we know he'll be okay, going forward? I mean, I have my questions about that. I think it's fair to wonder he gets beat up. Excuse me. I don't think I dropped Tyson Williams for him. I'm not sure which more we're talking about, Elijah or Eli on the Jets. If it's Eli, yes. If it's Elijah, probably not. And I probably wouldn't drop Sterling Shepard either. So I don't know if I would drop any of those guys for Peyton Barber. It was one good game. He doesn't have a lot of those in his career. Maybe he gets better. Maybe he's better now, but probably not banking on it. Hope that helps, Bradley. Brad Stewart, full PPR, Sermon if Mitchell is out, or Deontay Johnson. Sermon if Mitchell's out. Look, I'm not impressed. I was not impressed with Sermon. He made nobody miss, right? The first guy tackled him every single damn play. So that made it very rough for me, but still, I'm playing the opportunities. I think he would get more of them in a favorable matchup than Deontay Johnson. I think Deontay, you're exactly right, though, Brad. I mean, normally this is an easy call, the feature back, but I mean, Kyle Juszczyk outproduced him last week. So I understand the question. I'm probably still going Sermon and hoping it gets a little better. Deontay Johnson, though, is a solid play. If that's, if you're concerned about Sermon or if Mitchell is active, Deontay Johnson for sure. Hawkinson or Zach Moss. I expect a huge Hawkinson rebound game. Man, I don't often play tight ends over running backs, but split backfields, I could do that. I could probably play Hawkinson. Tell me it's a bonus scoring for tight ends, and it would sell me. Antonio Gibson, Scott, it sounds like he'll play. Nobody seems really concerned about the shin. The local reporters that I heard from say that they don't think it's going to be an issue. Full point PPR, Kirk, Hardman, Sony Michel, or Sermon in the flex. Sermon if there's no Elijah Mitchell. Is that a late kickoff? That might kind of limit your choices a little bit there. Arizona is also a late afternoon kickoff, so you could. So I'm not interested in Hardman or Michelle, assuming Henderson plays, and it sounds like he will. I mean, Sean McVay said he will, so I'm assuming that to be the case. So I'd probably go Sermon, then Kirk. Could you start Juju Smith over Tyler Lockett? Yes, you could. I don't know that I want to, but I could. I want to play Tyler Lockett if I think he's playing in at full speed, but I don't know that we'll get a good feel for that. Check the website, footballdiehards.com. Leading up to game day, I'll have more information and some of the insider views that we hear throughout the night that maybe will give us a clue on Tyler Lockett and help you out. I want to play Tyler over Juju, but understandable the concerns, given the injury situation this week. Yes, Jimmy Williams. Carr deserves to be quarterback one. I don't know why, he's been playing reasonably well. I think he finished last year, pretty much inside. I mean, I think he's a borderline. I don't think you have to play him, but you can play him. And I play him a lot. I've invested heavily in him, and I play him a lot. So, yeah, he deserves to be in that quarterback 12 range rest of season. Marquise Brown, AJ Green, or Jamal Williams. I'm probably playing Jamal Williams there, Scott Kobe. Do you think Marquise Brown has a get-well game? I think that he could have that. I mean, I think they'd like him to have one. They need him to have one after the 3-drop game. I don't know that it comes against Denver. And AJ Green, the most heavily targeted receiver in the Arizona Cardinals receiving corps. Still probably would rather play Jamal Williams. Standard scoring, Jay Taylor, if he goes, and I think he will. Pittman, Michelle, or Moss in the flex. I'm probably going Jonathan Taylor if he plays. And I don't like the matchup for Pittman in this one. That's pretty good cornerback plays there. I'd probably go Zach Moss. So I'm not a huge fan. I like heavier music, but they're eminently listenable. Greta Van Fleet. And I know I'm not going to make a Led Zeppelin joke here, unless I just did. Got a little time left. If you have more questions, get in on that. Also, hit the website, footballdiehards.com. Tons of information there. Shortly, there will be an article about Rob Gronkowski not making the trip to Tampa Bay. As soon as I'm done answering your questions, there will be that article. And we do this right up through each round of kickoffs, have all the last-minute inactives, etc. If you don't already listen to Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, you hear the Football Diehards Monday and Thursday nights. You hear Saturdays from 5 to 7. Then if that was not enough for you, you can switch on NFL Radio. Mike Dempsey and I are on Football Diehards again on Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88, from 8 to 11. And so tons of good guests on all those shows. Gary Davenport will be joining us on the Fantasy Channel today. Casey Joyner, the scientist, will be joining us on the NFL Channel. Jamie Calandro, DFS specialist here at Football Diehards. Hit the subscribe button to this YouTube channel as well. Appreciate that. Hit the like button so the algorithm likes us more. It's not that you like me. I want the algorithm to like me. You don't have to like me. Nobody likes me. I'm Bob Harris. Keenan Allen for Gallup, 22 first, likely back half. Okay, Dennis, let me see if I can decipher. Keenan Allen for Gallup. Oh, okay, I see. 20, and I might do that, right? I mean, you get a first-round pick this next year. I mean, look, I love Keenan Allen. We all know what he is, though, and I think Gallup has some upside, and I'd like to see what that first-round pick gets me. I don't think that's an unfair pick, Dennis. Jalen Waddle or Jacoby Miles, full PPR, probably going Waddle in that one. Greg, and thanks for asking, Eric. Greg, start 3, PPR. Just looking at news coming in and see if it's actual news or just garbage, and it's just mostly garbage. Start 3, Pittman, Waddle, Patrick, Devonta Smith, Woods, or Ayuk. Hey, it's a long list, Greg. I don't like Pittman's matchup. I like Smith's matchup. I'm probably going with the last 3 guys. And, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to swap Pittman in there for any of them. Chase Claypool is downgraded to out. So there we have that. There's another decision made for us in advance. And also another article that will be up on the website in another 13 minutes when I'm done with this video. Robbie Anderson or Mecole Hardman is my second flex. I'd probably take a chance with Robbie Anderson. I mean, we know Mecole Hardman's going to have good games. We also know Demarcus Robinson's going to have good games. Byron Pringle's going to have a good game. Marcus Kemp might even have a good game at some point. Hell, at some point, Josh Gordon could have a good game. Won't be this week. But I'm playing Robbie Anderson and hoping for the best. Kind of playing the depth chart, basically, of Carolina's offense more so than Kansas City's, because I think Kansas City's a little unsettled. This doesn't seem like there's any one guy I can trust beyond Tyreek Hill, and can't even trust him right now. Full point PPR, Jacoby Myers, Corey Davis, or Tim Patrick in the flex. Would probably go, I think Myers has a good floor. I think Patrick has a good floor. Probably slightly lean to Myers in this one, hoping they throw the ball a lot. Corey Davis, need to see Zach Wilson get the ball out of his hands more quickly before I can get too excited. Thank you for asking, Bradley. The cats are fine. They started traveling outside. This is a new house for me. We're in a new place. If you were listening earlier, there's a dog in the house, so that makes it difficult for the cats, but they're starting to get around and out a little more. If Bob was to sip liquor again, I'd probably listen to Steve Miller Band. That would be horrible. Would I trade? Okay, Ken. Would I trade Diggs for Mixon? I have Keenan Allen, Julio Jones, and A. Brown on my roster. I need a running back. I do have Taylor and Jacobs. So I'd like to have a little more clarity. I mean, you've already got two nicked up running backs in Taylor and Jacobs. Do you want to add another? That would be the concern there. I mean, I don't think – it didn't look like Mixon's injury was bad. It looked minor. But I'd like to know it's minor before I trade away a commodity like Diggs for him. But you have the wherewithal. But Jones and Brown are out also this week. So there you go. I think DGAM draws Diggs. I think so too, Dennis. I agree with that. I think I agree with that. Definitely the Diggs part. Trayvon Diggs is playing extremely well right now, and he will see a lot of DJ Moore. So that's another part of that logic on that one. Who are the buy low guys you see having a huge week this week? Look, I think Kyle Pitts could have a huge week any week. I think Jonathan Taylor is probably less likely, but still possible. Who was the receiver I had in mind? Refresh my memory, Scott Kobe. Thanks. I was not sure who to pick. There you go, Eric. I think it's close enough. Waddle's been great. He's kind of been the leading guy there. I just don't have a lot of faith in Jacoby Brissett. It is a good matchup, though. So the reason I went with Myers there is I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of passing for that team. PPR, Deontay Johnson or Christian Kirk. I'll go Deontay Johnson, Jeff, the Crusher. Don't hurt me. Again, the late breaking news out on the wire. Chase Claypool will not play, has been downgraded to out. Rob Gronkowski will not play, did not make the trip or is not making the trip to New England to play the Patriots. So interesting developments. We'll be watching on George Kittle. That may be the next domino that falls here at some point today. They said they were going to test him and Elijah Mitchell as well. And we'll see what else. Thank you, Bradley. Appreciate you coming. Have a good day as well. Again, hit the website. We'll have stuff going up throughout, all the way up through the Sunday kickoffs. By the way, I'm also on the Sunday pregame show with Jeff Manns on SiriusXM Radio, so give us a listen there. We'll cover all the inactives, just like we do on the website. So we've got you covered wherever you are, however you like to consume your information. Allen Robinson, could he get 460 and a TD? Yes, of course he could, Scott. But he might have to do it from short range, right? Some run after catch. Because, man, they have not been throwing the deep balls. Sounding like the rumors, the kind of the direction that seems to be taking is Justin Fields is going to play again this week. Dalton is questionable. Still could get in. It's going to be a game-time decision. Thank you, Andrea. Appreciate it. Got a few more minutes here to take questions before I have to write Rob Gronkowski and Chase Claypool stories for the rest of the world. So take advantage of it if you're up to it. If you have more questions, I am here to answer. Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Scott. You and Mans together are awesome. Thank you. Should have a daily show. I don't think Mans can put up with me every day. I'm a handful. Or he is. One of us are. Anyway, maybe both of us. I love working with Jeff. It's a good time. You can also catch me on Fantasy Dirt every other Tuesday. Me and Dempsey are splitting Tuesdays with Fabiano. What is the game you're watching closely? So I think, which games I was need to make the list of games this week that I really like. The KC Philadelphia game, the Dallas Carolina game should be shootouts, right? We're expecting that. Kind of interested in the Seattle San Francisco game. I don't see a lot of defense being played there. The Arizona LA game, obviously a big one. I heard there's a game in New England that's going to be exciting. Foxborough, Tampa Bay, that Tom Brady kid going back home. I'll be enjoying that one kind of as a fan, right? Yes, we are waiting on the Kittle news, Andrea. It could come at any time. So watch the website, footballdiehards.com. We'll have that information there shortly after it's announced. So, Dennis, I was thinking about this. With Gronk out, the question is Brate or Howard. Brate is the obvious pivot. There may be people, we just said that, Eric, a couple times. So Claypool is out. And Gronk is out as well. Chase Claypool, downgraded out. Rob Gronkowski's out. So I was thinking about that. And, Brate is the obvious choice to me. But O.J. Howard seems like a sneaky play. He might make it into one of my tournament lineups. Tom Brady's talked about Howard, right? And we just haven't seen him do much coming off the Achilles. So, maybe this is his opportunity. Again, Brate, the more logical choice. O.J. Howard's my hunchy play, Dennis. Yes, that Tom Brady character is pretty good. I think this Brady guy is going to go off. Also, though, there's another side of this coin, right? Rich, I'll go Deontay Johnson over Waddle and PPR. There's the other side of this coin. I mean, we all talk about Tom Brady's revenge game. Is it not Bill Belichick's revenge game as well? Is he not going to have a plan in place? He's been doing this a while. He's been a pretty good coach for a while. So I'm interested, man. I want to see how this plays out. I'm pretty sure that Bill Belichick would like to get this win. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he has the horsepower on offense to get it done. And it's hard to shut down this offense. They're super good. So interesting stuff. A few more minutes for a few more questions. If you have them, jive in. I really appreciate you guys coming every Saturday, noon Eastern time, to this Ask Me Anything. I also do another video that'll be posted on the site after this, kind of an injury rundown, get you up to speed on all the latest stuff and let you know what you need to look for. I think it's going to be a really good game too, Scott. Corey Davis or Jacoby Myers. I feel like I'm, Andrew, becoming anti-Corey Davis. I mean, there's been one I feel like I'm on this because you have a tendency to get into a narrative, right? Like, man, the Jets are just so damn bad that I can't stand playing them. I think we have. Looking for where Myers is. It's fairly close. We have Davis slightly ahead. Let me just check in. Oh, I guess they're 32-3. So we have Davis. We have Myers one ahead in our rankings. Oh my gosh, that's interesting. I'd probably go Myers. I'm fine with that if the rankings confirm what my hunch is. Yes, Eric. I said that. You saw that. Yes, Claypool is definitely out. He's been ruled out. So slight lean, Andrew, Jacoby Myers. I'm getting all disorganized here because I'm looking at my rankings and all excited about them. Because they confirm what my hunch. I love that. Let's see. Sorry, it's okay to be late, Rob. I'm still here. Thoughts on Taylor in Indianapolis? I think he's going to play. I think it's something to go off. Hope it's this week. We'll see. I do like him awful lot. It's a pretty good matchup for him. A little worried about Quentin Nelson being gone, but they have other guys. It's run blocking. People can do that. It's pass protection that the newcomers are not good at. My thoughts on Jalen Hurts this week, top 10 quarterback with a great matchup. Anyone on Atlanta like their kicker? Calvin Ridley looks like he's in a good spot. Maybe this is the week Kyle Pitts goes off. I could play Mike Davis if I had to. And Young Wei Koo is a very good kicker. If Lockett is out, Robbie Anderson side of this and hope for the best. I mean, I think Dennis Bennett mentioned it earlier, and I agree with this. I wonder if my feed has died. Oh no, there it goes. I mean, I do think the coverages are going to favor Anderson in this one. Yes, Scott Ridley is a good buy low, but I think the coverages are going to favor Robbie Anderson, but not the point that he's going to get a Juju-like workload with Chase Claypool out. Curtis Samuel or Higbee in the flex. I need to see Eric Samuel before I play Samuel. He's going to be back. I like, I don't know. I'm skeptical about Curtis Samuel. I want to see what the role is going to be in this offense. So I'm playing Higbee this week, even though it's not the best matchup for tight ends. I have an article up about that on footballdiehards.com. You should check it out when you get a minute. Time to buy Jets players on the low. I agree with this, right? I mean, I'm already invested in Davis. I'm already invested in Michael Carter. That might be enough for me, but but we'll see. They need to get some pass protection down, and Zach Wilson needs to look like he can get the ball out of his hand. I asked you earlier, Harris or Patterson. I made these trades in the last 2 days. I liked Harris the rest of the season, right? So there you have it. So Scott, I mean, I think we do see it every year. I mean, I think September has become the new August, right? I mean, there's a lot of moving pieces. There. There I'm working briefly. All right. Working long enough to tell you all goodbye. And I'm going to go write some updates on Gronk and Claypool in case you missed it. Chase Claypool is out. Rob Gronkowski is out. Will not make the trip to Tampa Bay with the rib injury. So there we have it. Good luck, everybody. Go to footballdiehards.com and hopefully my technology will be working better when I'm there. Here I am. All right. There we go. September has become the new August. All right. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Sorry about my dog barking. Go to footballdiehards.com. Check everything out. Got a ton of the site. Listen to Football Diehards on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. Check out this YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. We really appreciate that, and get notifications so you know when we go live every Saturday at noon. And most Saturdays, it works the whole time. Mostly. Thanks.